live. I'm live. Well, live from my grandpa's attic once again. It's late night with David Kelley. So, little bit of news. Yesterday, or rather, early yesterday, Bob Saget had passed away, and boo hoo, which is really strange because that was a hard hit for me. I really liked the guy's adult work. Pretty funny dude. Played on Full House. Did a few other the America's Funniest Home Videos, and I liked his stand-up a lot more than the rest of it because I was kind of tortured to watch sitcoms as a kid growing up. Didn't really like those too much. Anyway, what's on the agenda tonight? I would like to redo my drawing faces lesson because I think the last time I tried to make a video, it completely pooped out because I had hit the power button trying to move the laptop from the activity tower back down here to where it sits on top of the printer. And yeah, big flub, big oof, as the kids say, the cringelings out there. Without further ado, let's move the laptop over to the old activity pad, which as usual is oh wait, I have to make a modification because that's what happened last time is the thing was too far away from the paper, and when I was trying to film what I was drawing, it was too far away. So I think what we're going to want to do here is a couple of boxes, thinner ones, and then instead of using the art containing the ammo case containing art, we're just gonna put these two shorter boxes and then the bread box, and so we have a modified short tower, which I think we'll do. Well, here we probably want the cardboard box beneath the hard box. That's also a card box. Isn't that funny? Probably not. And if you're thinking, boy, this guy sure lacks production value, that's because you're getting live content right off the top of the head while I'm sitting here on my bed. So if y'all out there whining because you don't get enough live, natural, genuine content, well, this is what it looks like. It's not pretty. So let's move the laptop over to the doodle pad and let's try and draw some faces. I want to show you guys how to do things like noses, mouths, eyes, countenance. And that will give you guys something to think about and work on. Because if you're ever stuck in one place while the power is out, you're going to have to find activities that don't involve the computer or video games. And that's the things I'm good at. That's the things I share here. So, let's, without further ado, move the laptop over to the activity tower, which, as you can see, is its natural stack of boxes. All right. Oh boy. Knocked it over. That's the fun we look forward to here. Thinking, this guy's freaking nuts. And I'm like, oh, what are you talking to? All right. Now that I'm done making an ass of myself. Hey, look, that's the whole picture. Move this sledgehammer out of the way. Move these shoes out of the way. Welcome to the weird world of David Kelley. Why does he do things like this? It's probably the most inefficient way to do anything. And well, that's probably why I don't have any money or friends or a job besides scrubbing toilet and vacuuming floor, picking up after cat. All right, so we're going to draw two people. We'll draw a female and a male, like we were doing last time, but before I screwed everything up, like I typically do. All right. So with girls, you want soft features, like I was saying before. And with guys, you want harder features. With gals, you want. And then, of course, my best friend, Mr. Eraser, keeps me from making things that are stupid. Then again, you can't really fix stupid. Once you're born with it, you're stuck with it. And you'd think, oh man, don't say that about yourself. And I'm telling you, no, shut up. I've lived with myself for 30 years. I know. With the noses, you just want the subtlest of details. You really don't want to go overboard. If you're sitting there trying to make a super schnoz, you're going to find out your schnoz is always a snooper schnoz. And it's just too much to work with. Fuller lips. All right. We're going to have harder features for the guy. All right. All right. Over here. Next, we want lashes. We want softer looking lashes for the lady. We want harder lashes for the guy. There's a reason for that. Ladies tend to have softer, more effeminate features, and guys tend to have harder, more rigid features. It's just a matter of how things are put together. For pupils, you can like this, and if you were to draw eyelids, you would just simply scale where their eyes are. You could have them squinting from both sides. The same thing for girls. Girls tend to have more obvious top and bottom eyelashes. And there's a reason for that. It really makes their eyes pop. Softer, more effeminate features. So now we'll have guys' hair. Now, guys' hair can be lots of different things. Sometimes you would want to do the ears first. You're thinking, oh man, there's no way I'm going to be able to draw this. Well, I say this. You can take the video and you can slow it down. And then you can go bit by bit. You really want to have a natural dome to the head. And what's cool about when drawing hair is you can kind of mess up on the top of their head a little bit because you can't really see the top of their head. And don't forget, there's always Mr. Eraser to help you out. Now, granted, you can tell from the last video here, I'm not going to show you how to draw professionally. I'm showing you how to draw quickly so that you can convey an idea of something you want to show or something you want to see, right? And it'll serve you that purpose. So look at this. I'm already double guessing on this chin. The chins, man. The world of chins. Now this guy's got more chins than a Chinese phone book. Look at him. Like 3 of them now. We'll call him. We'll call that guy Charlie. Charlie Chin. Because he's got so many chins. But we can use that one mistake chin right there. We'll use that to mark where his Adam's apple is at. Because when you're doing that, you want to make sure. Now this guy right here, he's going to be in the background. Because he's a lot smaller. So we'll say that the lady's taking the lead here in this picture. And I'm also kind of drawing this from an angle, which makes it very awkward and difficult to draw. And so, yeah, trying to draw this well, quickly, is incredibly difficult. He's going to have like this weird kind of droopy shirt. So it seems like everything's off because it really is. I'm trying to be Mr. One Go GoPro Joe here. And of course, it's going to result in some really funky looking Byzantine dynamics here on the drawing structure. Get your laughs, guys. Go ahead, get your laughs. No, really, get your laughs. If funny is what sells, you can poke fun. You can see like, oh, but people don't like being made fun of. Look, I've lived with myself my entire life. I survived high school. I've been made fun of. I was the guy that was having army crawl contests in the middle of the hallway during lunch. I was the guy piping up weird conspiracy theories in history class. I'm used to getting made fun of. I'm used to being mocked. And so you're only going to hurt my feelings so much with words. And the reason that is because, well, I'm used to it. God, that looks like trash. That looks like such trash. I'm going to cry. So this is going live on the internet. Like I'm supposed to be showing off right now. That's great. Look at her. She's got like super 80s shoulder pad arms. Ah! I suck. I've been sleeping next to the litter box for too long. Actually, I wonder if that could have something to do with it, couldn't it? So we'll give her a bosom. We'll try not to be too overt for the sake of this isn't that kind of stream. All right. So let's go like this. We'll cut that through. My failure arms. And we'll say her arms come in like that. Why does it like she's got the super top bubble, the bubble bicep? She's like stacked like a pro wrestling lady, but not nearly as pretty. I'll tell you what though, man, those pro wrestling ladies, they are very pretty. We got to give her a name too. We're gonna call her Lola Lumps, because she looks lumpy. Oh my. All right, she doesn't have a All right. Now we're going to take these turd people and we're going to make them look as gem-like as possible. This is where you're going to be amazed, where you can take your simplest, most fragmented ideas and turn them into things that are sharpened. And if you remember the first drawing lesson, if you had watched it at all, I used the side of the pencil, the side of the lead, to do all of my shading. So, wow, there's so much space on her face. That's okay. We'll say the light source is from over here, but it's over here somewhere, shining at them. So we'll use the side of the pencil favoring one side where the shadow will be. And by picking one side where the shadow will be, we can decide, or rather, we've already decided, we can accentuate all of the curved features of the person. Of course, making darker features where the light would be less, and how would that work? So then this would be, I think that's about where it would stop, if it's anything like that. And you might be thinking, oh wow, this is actually looking a little better. And that's the point. So I'm trying to show you is just with a little bit of consideration to certain details, with a few considerations, you can take any crappy picture and turn it into something you might be able to reference from. These are for quick ideas. Let's do our guy now. Now, what if you're drawing people of different ethnicities and such? Well, that's something I actually have to practice. There's all sorts of ethnicities that I want to get better at drawing because, well, I'm not the best artist in the world. I really am not. I'm a trash can artist. I pull things from out of the trash and I stick them together. And in the end, sometimes I have something that you can gander at, and most of the time it's just a ramshackle mockery of finer art. And it's nothing against the artists I draw from, because honestly, they're always much more talented than I am. But right here, we'll get like half of his face there. He's got the margin line there. And see the guy right there, he's also got that chest line. We're going to have some shading because his arm's blocking that. Make sure to favor the side where the light would naturally be. And see, now that we've got the basics, we can go through with the finger pastel and touch it all up. All right. Right there. Oh wait, we forgot an arm. And it takes a crappy picture, a picture that would typically just be trash, poke fun at trash picture, and turns it into something that you can kind of show off to people. Now, granted, if you're a better artist and it's just these few tricks that you were missing, you'll take pictures that looked flat and two-dimensional, and it will give them the breadth of life. And then, and if you're drawing with pen, I can't help you. I've drawn a few good pictures with pen. They've turned out, but more often than not, I am terrible with things that are so final and so ultimate as pen. If you're a wonderful pen artist, my hat's off to you, and it just about stays off to you because you're doing something I'm just not too good at. I can only stand to be impressed that you're able to. Now, that's not to say I haven't made a couple of decent pen pictures, but I have not made many decent pen pictures. Uh, Now we can use the eraser to touch up the details. Like get this guy's weird mutant chin taken care of. Sorry, Charlie Chin. Now in the world of character, oh, these guys look serious, don't they? These guys look serious. Let's give them some. Let's give them some character per se. But they went from being pictures that you would never possibly be proud of to pictures that you might be able to show off if you were in middle school. But then again, I'm not hunched over this picture trying my best. I'm slapping it together quick just to convey an idea, because that's the point of this drawing lesson, is to show you how to draw pictures drawn fast, slapped together quick, for the sole purpose of conveying an idea. If you were trying to draw people. So here's Lola Lumps and Charlie Chin. Let's make two others. Let's watch me fail. That's what people come to see, isn't it? All right. Oh, my back. What a weird, awkward position to sit in. So now let's draw a side profile. And side profiles are typically a lot easier than I'm going to draw the side profile of Charlie Chin here. Let me see if the head will come around right there. Is this the only thing I'm going to be doing tonight? Heavens, no. You already know. I'm going to come up with some sort of activity to make up for this lame one. Now, here we go. Now let's pick... No, wait. Charlie Chin's chin is not that big. Charlie Chin's chin is a really shallow chin. There we go. That's more like it. There's a Charlie Chin chin. Let's see that Adam's apple. Let me see. It comes around right about there. Oh, that's almost too abrupt, but we'll buy it. Now, when it comes to hairlines, they always come right down below the lobe of the ear, and sometimes just right past the there. And you have yourself something that looks like Charlie Chin's chin. And then let's since Lola Lumps was sitting just a bit closer, let's do her. So Lola Lump's face it has to be, because she has, oh my goodness, my brain can't look at that without feeling shame, which it should not be able to look at that without feeling shame. All right. Yes. And Mystery Eraser saves the day every day, all the time. At least for me and my pictures. And you'd think, oh my God, why would you possibly do that? Well, a lot of the time you can draw pictures like this with the pencil. And once you find about what you're looking for, you can trace over it with the pen. And yeah, it looks a lot better then. So let's do the lashes. Let's do those bottom lashes. Let's give her those pupils. Oh, my back. Yeah, this is a really awkward angle for my back to be sitting at. Old and dying. Why would you be so dramatic? Man, I've broken microwaves apart without thinking twice about what I'm breaking apart in the microwave. I imagine my days are numbered at the best. She's just like 14 times bigger than he is, just as a human being. We could stop that right there before that gets too complicated. Do. Ow, my back. Yeah, this is painful to sit in this at this angle. Now I would just run it from my phone. I really wished I could have recorded this from my phone, because then I could just make some sort of headband that I would be looking down at the board with. But YouTube has this thing where you're not allowed to film live from your phone until you have 1,000 subscribers, which I'm like, well, hello classism. A classism is alive and well on YouTube. Yes, thank you, YouTube, for that. I can't really blame them. It would be as bad as TikTok if that were the case. But honestly, take this, YouTube, as a note. Who's making more money right now? Who's making? You know what? Yeah, don't blame me for that. Don't get mad at me for that. Y'all make your own bed. You sleep in it. I have to. Pee stains and all. It's just the way it is. He's like sniffing her hair. No, it's actually he's supposed to be closer. This is the weird. I guess she's supposed to be closer, and no, yeah, the angling's all messed up now. For shame, David. For shame. You look like a moron now. And I'm just like, well, when do you not look like a moron? So it gets to a point where I stop getting mad at myself, because I'm always gonna mess up. I'm just doomed to mess up no matter what I do. Part of it is people screw me over because they know I'm stupid and they can. But I'm going to admit that there's a good fair bit that's just purely me. This guy, he's gonna have bigger lobes. Check out those lobes, man. Look at those lobes. You got lobes like that? There's no way you got lobes like that. You can't have those lobes. You'd have to go to a doctor. Have them attach those kinds of lobes to your ear. I don't even got lobes like that. There'll be some tribal person out there saying, "Well, I got some pretty nice lobes there." Hey, you know what? It's hard to speak of what another culture thinks is good. You know, too often people make the judgment that everything's got to look and smell and sound and act just the way that they like it so they can sell more Cheez-Its. But I'll tell you what, honestly, the rest of the world is very sick of it. Very, very sick of getting left out of the roller coaster ride. They're not impressed. They're not impressed, guys. So yeah, I guess that's a nice side profile of Lola Lumps and Charlie Chin. Now I'm going to draw something I'm actually good at drawing. I've been practicing people for years and 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 years. And that's about as far as I've got to whipping them out really good, really fast. And could you say it's something to be proud of? I think it is. I think it is. I tried really hard just to get to that level. And I know I've got a long way to go for it to be really pretty. But that's just the way things roll sometimes. Let's draw something fun this time. Something that people will get us. But as you can see, oh wait, here. Let's add the shading like we did before. Except this time we'll make the light from behind, but it would be back here from behind, shining forward like that. Which makes this the dark side of the face. You're thinking, oh my God, you're going to butcher this picture, aren't you? And I'm like, oh yes. Oh yes, I'm going to butcher this picture. Charlie Chin and Lola Lumps. Chin's going to look like Charlie. And Lola Lump's going to look all lumpy. Wish I would say, don't worry about it. If you do a better job than me, I'm only going to be impressed. It's just how I roll. Unless you cheated. Unless you cheated to do a better job. If you cheated to do a better job, you didn't really do a better job. You just cheated. But if you truly are better, I can't help but tip my hat. It's just the way it is. Like boxers, you know? You might like your guy. You might have your favorite. But when it boils right down to it, the better boxer wins. And you know what? It's a good thing it's like that. Because if it wasn't, boxing wouldn't be fun to watch. It would be play fighting. Now you could say, well, what do you like professional wrestling so much then? Well, professional wrestling's different. That's like, it's such a different grade of judgment. You'd have to have access to the script first off, and that's something you're never going to get a hold of. And so then you'd have to cross compare what's in the script to how well they're performing what's in the script. Right? And then you'd have to take how well they're performing what's in the script and and then compare that to what's expected of a person a certain size with a certain skill set. So it's like big dudes can't really do what featherweight dudes can typically. And so if you have a big dude who's given the script move to do something that a featherweight has to do, you can't really expect them to pull it off perfectly. So when they do it, you can only stand to be impressed. Like how the Undertaker does the whole tightrope thing. That is a dainty move for such a big guy to be doing, and that's impressive to me. I already know how difficult it is to do things like that anyway, because yeah, you'd have to be crazy skilled just to pull that off as a little guy. And so if you're a big guy doing those little guy moves, it is a psychosis of physics and dynamics. It is something I stand to be greatly impressed by most every time. And here's another thing too. I'm a big fan of the old school wrestlers, right? I like the Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man Randy Savage and stuff, but these new guys, man, they're just as wild. They're just as crazy. And in a way, they're kind of better, which is weird. It feels bad to say. It feels like I'm saying something I shouldn't say, but I can't help but admit it. They fly higher. They do harder, more technical moves. And I think a lot of it has to do with we're no longer in the 80s. In the 80s, there was drugs, there was pills, there was steroids, and a lot of great guys fell for that. I don't know who in the locker room or around the business was selling that crap, but whoever they are, they're on a heavy beef list with me. They killed a lot of good guys and girls selling that crap, whoever the hell they were. And it ruined their careers, and it made a lot of really great guys sell short. And it makes me sad that was the case, that's how it happened. But you know what? You can't take it back. We only look forward. These new guys, though, I would say you could probably say from 2002-ish, 3-ish, 4-ish, around there. The new guys that were popping in just didn't do that stuff. And I think it made a lot better superstars in the long run, that they didn't fall for that growing fast because you had to. And another thing too is with these professional wrestlers, man, is they'll go and do a match, they'll get their ass ripped up, flying off of stuff and getting thrown into things. I think I'm going to draw a cityscape. This will be a fun drawing lesson, one in cityscapes. So cool thing about cityscapes, let's pick a point in the background. That'll be the background. And we'll run a street. We'll run a street short this way and long. Oh, geez, it's way too centered out. I guess we'll just run with it. Fine. We'll just run with it. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So these guys will get their asses kicked, basically just trying to get people to cheer and smile and stuff. And then they'll be booked for a show the next day somewhere else in another part of the world. And so they go and chase that appointment. And here's the thing. This is another thing. The lady wrestlers are just as hard, just as talented, just as vicious. And oh man, standing at this angle to the side, it's making this impossible to do cleanly. I can stand to be embarrassed. It's not a big deal. Yes, we want level. We want even. We want a lot proper. More proper. There we go. My brain My poor brain. How am I? There we go. All right. So these ladies are just as vicious. The guys they'll get their asses kicked, right? Because it's part of the show. And then they'll go to the next one and then get their asses kicked. And then go to the next one and get their asses kicked. And then go to the next one and get their asses kicked. Now, some of these guys, they'll old Doc McStuffins will give them a pill prescription, right? Because there's no way, really, unless I don't know. I guess there probably might be a few. I guess there could be a few who just have superhuman gumption, who don't take any pain pills, and my God, if you don't salute those guys on approach, you're missing the point. Because to be able to take continual pain like that. Now, granted, these guys are also and gals are hitting the gym in between all of this to keep primed, and they're beating each other up off camera to practice the script that they have. The level of human drive it takes to be a professional wrestler, man, I really wish I could do it. That's one of my dreams. It's always been one of my dreams. I even took weight training in high school, thinking, oh man, this is where you start out with it. You got to be pumping irons like Razor Ramon. And I would say, yeah, I guess you could do that, but it's not easy even there. You got to do cardio and ladder drills and all this other stuff. You get your ass kicked. You kick your own ass, really. And it's amazing. It's amazing. It's so amazing how a person can handle that. And then, of course, there's also just the grossness of dealing with business people. And that's the part. That's where it really trips my wire. That's where that's where I lose it. Because not only are these people, and I guess maybe being big enough that you can bend someone in half and twist them into a pretzel gives you a certain edge in negotiating. But yeah, to be dealing with the sleazy side of show business on top of the training aspect and on top of the remembering what the right thing to do is at the right time. Oh my God, I can't even look at myself right now. Look at Picassoville. I'm going to call this Picassoville. Just it's the angle I'm sitting at. Usually I'm sitting directly over the page, but I'm looking at it from this angle, trying to draw it from this angle, and it is just throwing my brain through a horseshoe. Which I would say, actually, it's kind of a fun challenge in a way. Just like drawing those faces, it's weird how everything changes when you try to do something you've done every single day from a different perspective. I did not anticipate it being this difficult. I figured to myself, oh, this will be easy. I'll just throw down a few pictures. And now I'm looking at it now. I'm just like, wow. That's the stupidest idea I've ever had. Next to talking to famous people thinking they would care. I don't know, maybe they do. I guess that's kind of mean to say. But from the look, from what I've noticed, I don't know if any of them ever been legitimately trying to contact me or if it's just bots posing as them trying to contact me. I don't know what to think about it, man. The internet sucks. It just sucks so much. You think you're talking. You think you're talking to someone you're talking to, and it's not them. It's some weirdo, some stranger, which I'm used to. I have got stories. I'm not going to tell them just because I don't really would want to defame anyone or anything per se, but I guess it's really all kind of out of control. But I would be thinking that I'm talking to some famous person. I'd be thinking like that check mark counted, but really it could just be some basement wizard just posing as a celebrity because, well, they can. They can, and I'll bet the way technology is, they could probably hack it to get that little check mark next to their name. You know what I'm saying? To where you'd be thinking you're talking to someone legit, and all indications would point to someone who you're talking to is legit, but in reality, it's just someone who fakes it really well to gather information on you for some stupid, sad, pathetic, self-absorbed, moronic reason. Now here, you know you're talking to who you're talking to. I'm too stupid to be mistaken with someone else. And you know what? I think there's a certain measure of security in it. People would be like, "Oh, come on, don't say that about yourself." And I'm saying, "No, dude, I've lived with myself for 30 freaking years. I've trusted people I shouldn't trust, and I still trust them, even though I shouldn't trust them. Uh, I talk to people I shouldn't talk to, and I still talk to them, even though I shouldn't talk to them. And it's just a part of life to make mistakes, and sometimes you'll end up making the same mistake like 50 freaking times in a row. And you'll be telling yourself, "Oh, geez, I sure feel stupid about that." And then someone will tell you not to, and then you'll second guess your stupidity. And then before you know it, there you are, making the same stupid mistake because someone said, "Don't call yourself stupid." I am tired of that. What would you, we'll call it mercantile affirmation. It's like they're telling it to you just because they want to set you up for the next time to make fun of you. Uh, someone, or maybe it's just they can't see it through your eyes, and they're assuming that you would make the better decision the next time around. But in reality, your brain just doesn't do it, or at least my brain just doesn't do it. It doesn't make very good decisions over and over and over again. I have to screw up like 50 times before there's one success, and typically that one success is a fluke. It's a good feeling fluke. You know, it feels good. It feels good to do something right, but typically it's very short lived, and it's hardly legitimate. But this right here, this is a great example of it, to where I was thinking to myself, boy, it would be easy to draw a picture for an audience to show them how drawing is done. But just the changing of the angle, this slight deviation of the angle I'm starting from, has made this nearly impossible to comprehend, which I kind of like. I kind of like this. That's why I call it, see, no, I'll just call it Picassoville, just to make myself feel better about the mistake. See, now it's neo-expressionism. See, it's not just me screwing up because I overestimated my ability to draw a picture. It's supposed to look all wonky. So I guess that's the fun of art, though, because you can screw up and it still counts, as long as you follow through with it. All right, now here's my favorite thing to do. Once you have all the buildings put together, this is a... And you would think, oh, this isn't too bad. And I guess in a way it's not too bad. But based on other things that I've drawn, I am not impressed with this. I am saddened. Saddened by my There's something wrong with that boy. All right, let's make it zany. I almost want to just crumple this up and throw it away. And if you've ever drawn artwork where you overestimated your ability to do something, that is a very tempting prospect. This is one of those where it feels like the only prospect. It's the only way to feel better about it. It's just to crumple it up and throw it away. But I'm going to follow through because this is Picassoville. It can look funky. It's allowed to look funky. See that? How I justified it to myself. How I took this poor mess, this travesty of a situation, and just called it a good job. Hey, billionaires, think about that. No hate. It's all great. But think about that. It's something to think about. Maybe you didn't do a good job. Maybe this isn't a good job. Maybe you're trying to do something you've done 1,000 times, but this time it's from a different angle. An angle you haven't tried it from before. And now everything that was supposed to turn out normal like you expect it to is turning out all weird and messed up. Because, well, it's different this time. Something has changed. A parameter to the average has altered the outcome. All right, let's put a little water tower up here. And we're going to add some life to this city because right now it just looks like a dystopian image. So how would we add life to this image to where it doesn't look so funky wonky? I guess funky wonky is okay though, because this is Picassoville. See, it's supposed to be funky wonky. Because that's the thing, you could look through all of my posts and all of my internet stuff and you'd think, oh boy, this guy just hates rich people. No, I don't. Sometimes you have to say some effed up stuff for people to get the picture that they're screwing up. Like me, I'm looking at how I'm drawing and I'm already telling myself, this is screwed up. This is so screwed up. This is not good. I've even gone through the self-soothing process of calling it Picassoville because I want to remedy how screwed up it is. Does it work in art? Yeah, it works in art. If this were a real city that people had to live in, it would not be a very happy place, would it? Be a bunch of weird crumbling structures, broken existence. It would not be. All right. Let's see here. Because granted, yeah, there's a lot of people who make their living legitimately and they do great services for the world. And I really wish I could find a way to celebrate those people more. And not just every person who happens to make more than me, because it's really not about that per se. It really isn't. It's about pointing out the flaw for what it is. Now, granted, I guess that's a way to approach it. Would we just call this reality the Picasso reality? It's supposed to be screwed up. You have to remember, reality is not art. Reality is not art. Art imitates reality. Remember that. Don't ever forget it. Reality does not imitate art. Reality is reality. There's all sorts of buildings that people have designed that wouldn't work simply because they're not realistic. Let's put a car here. What kind of car? This looks like a Buick or something. I don't know. You might be thinking, wow, this is way better than I could possibly draw. And if that's the case, then I guess this is the video for you, because this will get you started on being better. You know, if this is beyond your level in terms of drawing ability, then this is the video for you. If you can already draw better than this, you don't need this video. You can already convey your ideas. This car is like, is he in the middle of turning, or is he going to drive into that building? Who knows? All right. Or is he going to drive into this car coming this way? Because we want to draw another car coming this way. That was honestly a crazy idea I was having today. What if they made a Grand Theft Auto that was based in Liberty City, but in the 80s? And then you could have Vice City that's in the 80s. And then you could have San Andreas in the 80s, and you could go between all three of those places. And there would be Vegas too. Oh my goodness. Anyone who was 50 or over, man, they would just flip their lid to have that little playground to run around in. Because I remember as a little kid, teeny tiny little still in diapers kid, my dad had moved to Vegas to become a lounge singer, and it didn't turn out very well. But it was such a crazy place. And I remember it being such a crazy place. And I nearly drowned. And if it weren't for the neighbor lady, I would have. She had seen me at the bottom of the pool and pulled me out. That was a crazy experience. I remember it to this day. I remember not being scared, even though I was underwater for sheesh, how long? And that's not the first time I almost died. There's lots of times I almost died. But that's another episode. That's a bunch of episodes. But it was crazy how everything looked, how everything was, how people acted. The mid-90s in Vegas was something else. And I was a teeny tiny kid. We was watching Carmen Sandiego and Married with Children on the TV, in an apartment building filled with just junk, all of the whole house worth of stuff packed into a hotel room pretty much. And there was a pool there. I remember it was so hot one day there was flies falling out of the sky. It was just a crazy moment in my life. And granted, if you're trying to be a lounge singer in Vegas, I can't imagine what my dad was going through. And even worse, I can't imagine what my mom was going through. My dad wasn't a very nice guy. But my mom is a saint. And so, my God, it was hell. It was hell, guys. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It was nightmarish. My whole life's been nightmarish. I just want to break. I want to break from existence, really. But I'm stuck here. I'm stuck here until the Lord takes me or something else does. Let's make little people walking down the street. How about that? It takes a lot to live with yourself when you've suffered a lot of pain. It takes a lot to to just put it past you and to forget about it and to keep moving forward. Especially, and it depends on what you've experienced. From paranormal stuff to actual life-threatening horror to just the happy moments of a house that smells like dinner, and dad comes home from work and everything's just chill. There's nothing crazy going on. It's a completely good day. And then the week after that, it's right back into the schlitz. And life's like that sometimes. And there's nothing to really say or do about it because it just keeps moving forward. Time just keeps moving forward. I'm not going to sit. You can chase the past. I think it's important to remember the past. I think it's important to bring up the past. I think it's important to consider the past, because if you don't, you're just in denial. You're in denial that the future is just going to unfold without any kind of learning involved. Like, I remember a time, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't tell that story. Not to the internet. People, that's a thing. That's one thing I really wanted to talk about, man. The internet is filled with people who have no respect for the suffering. In fact, they seem to relish in it. And why that is, I think I know exactly why that is. It's the same reason my dad liked to beat on my mom, because they ain't got no damn control in their life. They don't got no damn control in their life. They got too much shit on their plate. They don't want to just deal with the things they have to deal with. Now, granted, here's some things to remember. For my dad, he had 5 kids to deal with, 2 of which weren't his, and he's from Mormon stock. And growing up in the mid-90s, most likely addicted to crack or meth or something like that, because he was not right in the head, and he was not dealing with good people. And so it just ripped the family apart every single day. Every single day, the family was ripped apart. And there was nothing we could do about it. There's nothing he could do about it. And so he would go and when his attempts at becoming a lounge singer failed, he went to go work at a dairy. And so he would just come home pissed every day. And he'd take it out on us kids, and he'd take it out on my mom. Why is that? I think there's just something human about not achieving what it is you wanted to do in life, and it just affecting how you handle your problems in general. And it's a sad thing about people. And some people have the nuts and guts to just suck it up and go downtown with it. And for other people, they never let it go. It's just a cold lump of poison at the back of their throat that they never swallow, and it's always everyone else's problem. And I don't want to be like that. I also don't want to work at a dairy, but I might have to. It is available. That's the job. That's the job that's within access of me. So there's a couple of good pictures for you. We got Picassoville, and in Picassoville lives Lola Lumps and Charlie Chin. Huh? Love in Picassoville. There's an episode for you. So here I am, live in my grandpa's attic. Age 30, no job, no future. And well, when I'm no longer able to take care of my grandpa, I'll have to go find some other job. And I probably won't give two craps about what YouTube's about. In fact, at this point, I really don't. It's a lot of sadness to me. It's a lot of sadness. I've seen I've seen enough. I've seen enough. There's really not much to be impressed. Activity time. This is the Birkin. Das Birkin is my metal pipe. And if there's any pipe you should play with, it is Das Birkin. And it's a pretty good exercise tool. This one's actually getting a lot lighter. It used to be a lot heavier for me, but now it's getting a lot lighter because I've just been doing this. Pumping the iron, so to speak. Now that's something I was really hoping for. You know, you see it. You see it on YouTube. The YouTube fame, the YouTube money. People they kind of make money enough to pay their rent, enough to put food on their table, just from making YouTube videos. And that's always fascinated me. I've always found it to be something like, what does it take to break through to there? What does it take to do that instead? You know, I've always wanted to be in show business. I've always wanted to make movies. But the more and more I study it, the closer and closer I look, there's a beautiful side where it's play pretend with all of the fixins and glitter. You can become an action star and then flip it around. Now you're romantic, and then you can flip it around. Oh, now it's funny. Now you're a goofball, and you can flip it around again. Now it's action, and it's play pretend to the nth degree, with special effects, and and it's all the movies you've ever seen, and it's beautiful, isn't it? But then there's another side of it, the real side of it, where it's investors, where you're a pawn for advertising, and it's creeps who want their slice of the pie, and they aren't willing to they're willing to stick a gun to your tummy and make sure they get it, because if you want to play on the street, you got to play with who lives on it. And then there's the political side, where someone wants to get their message through, and if you want to get some of that sweet investor money, you got to send their message on down through the other side. uh, I don't think people really consider the damage they do when it comes to those things. I know for a fact hardly anyone understands the damage it's done to me as a person, as a little kid growing up and seeing it, watching the Bill Nyes of the world, watching the pro wrestlers of the world, and watching the politicians like Bill Clinton, for instance. You know, when I was a little kid, I looked at Bill Clinton and I thought, wow, he sure seems like a nice guy. He seems like he'd be a really cool dude to hang out with and meet. And then the whole Monica Lewinsky thing came out, and he lied. He lied through his teeth. And then there was George Bush. Yeah, and he seemed like a neat guy. In fact, I remember really rooting for him. He looked like the kind of face you could trust. And then 9/11 came around, and then you saw really quick, just where the loyalty lies. Right where the loyalty lies. And as a little kid, I always dreamed that maybe one day I could run for president. Like, do y'all consider the damage? Now, granted, this was a little kid who grew up in the shits of Caldwell, Idaho. We're talking Mexican gangsters on one side, white supremacists on the other, and anyone who wanted their business left to themselves was meat to get chewed on and punched into the dirt. I was that kid, Mister in the middle. You want to know how fun it was? It was great. It was great because I wasn't stuck thinking everyone who isn't white is not all right. And I also wasn't stuck thinking, well, just because I have white skin, I better be the bad guy, because I have no choice in the matter. They're going to beat up on me either way. And as the kid who was not the white supremacist, I did. I got my ass beat for being white. And then I'd get my ass beat again for not hating people of a different color. So it's just ass beatings from both sides of the spectrum. Yeah. And there's a lot of kids who had to deal with it. I wasn't the only one. I wasn't the only one. There was a lot of kids who were just stuck in the machine. Little rats trying to find the piece of cheese. Yeah. Oh well. What's a better subject to think about? Let's pump some activity iron. Let's think of something more positive. Ugh. Here on the David Kelley Show Live, featuring David Kelley himself with an entire script from the top of his head. Meanwhile, people are what? Making fat bucks playing video games? Meanwhile, I have to consider option A. I might be able to run into the ocean again, try fishing on a different boat, but I'd likely get killed. You think the ocean is nothing? You think it's fun? You get your ass dragged off the back of a boat and a long line hook, and your ass is being pulled down by 200 pounds of drag weights tangled up in a cord full of hooks. Your ass is grass. Maybe your boat will just drop down off a swell onto a wash rock, and your ass is coconut gone. Just crack. You're at the bottom of the ocean, you and all your buddies. It happens. Or maybe you just hit a wave wrong and you're dead. You and everyone dead. That fast. Or maybe I could run into the dairy like dear old dad. Maybe I could go back to the crab backing plant and just bust my wrists that were made for drawing, smashing crab over a spike, ripping their shells off, shaking their guts into a conveyor belt, and then throwing the carcass on the top side. One crab every 10 seconds, 6 crab a minute, 9 hours a day. Could you do it? Probably could. Why not? I could. Or maybe I could try something new, something a little less legit. It seems being fair and honest and kind is not what wins in this world. No, I've tried, and I'm still trying. That's why I'm trying to go for the old YouTube gold. But I'll tell you what, you let me know. You let me know where it goes. Maybe I could go back to the kitchen like I did up at Yellowstone and serve people food and cook things and wash dishes in the dish pit. I've done that one too. Never much liked it. It wasn't what I wanted to do. But I have a feeling it's not about what I want to do. And that's something about society that's always really befuddled me. They always sell you these ideas like, if you just believe in yourself, if you just believe in yourself and you try real hard, you can do whatever you want. Your dreams will come true. You make the best of what you got. Now, if I was out there chasing the millstone, I wouldn't be here. Now, granted, it's not the funnest thing in the world to wash toilet and clean carpet and vacuum floor and mow lawn. It's not the funnest thing. And I don't even get paid any money. It's just a place to sleep and some food to eat. But most importantly, I'm getting to take care of a loved one. And I get to think about it. And I think about it often. How many people's grandparents just get left in a senior citizen's home, forgotten about? They're just right under the rug like the rest of everyone's problems. Now, there's a lot of you who are out there on the street. You might be thinking to yourself, well, I can't really do that. Well, why didn't you? Why aren't you there? Why don't you just elect yourself to take care of someone else? What are you getting hanging out with Mr. Weird Satanist cult leader down in Olympia? What's he giving you that someone else can't give you? What are you doing hanging out with a psycho brickhead up in the mansion? What's he giving you that someone else can't give you? Why are you why are you assaulting people trying to make a living on the internet at the behest of some weird basement wizard when you could be doing it yourself? Yeah, things to think about. You only have one life to live. You only live once. If I was going to choose to serve anyone, I would serve someone I care about, someone I love. Now, granted, I still have to serve myself to a certain degree. I know that. Why do you think I'm jumping out on a limb? Why do you think I'm bothering to take the risk? You think it's because I like to? You think it's because I want to talk to people on the internet? Partly. It would be nice to see this chat board filled up with names, people trying to get their word in edgewise. And it would be just as fun for me to try and catch up with all of them. I see that every day. I see that every day. I see the Rich Review Techs, and I see the Camelot 331s, and I see the Lewis Rossmans, and I see the rest of them. I see them every day, and I wonder to myself, what separates those guys from me? Now, some of them, it makes sense. They've been at it for years. They've probably been through this stage, this nobody's on the stream stage, this no one's talking to you stage, this alone in your room wondering if you're even doing this for a reason stage. And then they probably got to the 5 or 6 people show up stage. And then they got to the, well, here's a few hundred people show up stage. And then they got to the, hey, here comes a dozen subscribers stage. Here comes the 1,000 subscribers stage. Now you're allowed to film from your phone so your pictures don't look like crap. So you're not running on lag time. Honestly, it's all love. It's a labor of love. There's a few more exposés over myself that I wish to do before I surely lose patience bothering with sharing anything with the internet. Because deep down, I really don't want to. It's like, it's either this or it's the sweatshop, or it's the risk your life, stick your neck on the line just so people can laugh at you for doing it stage. The one I've lived multiple times. It's not fun. It's not fun to know better and to try very, very hard, only for it to be the butt of a joke. But I'm used to it. Fortunately, I don't neglect everything. I keep up with what I can, when I can, how I can. And honestly, even if I were to get a job at the dairy, pull the old 9 to 9, I'd probably still do it. I wouldn't be up here at 3 and 4 in the morning, though, that's for sure. I'd have to be asleep. But that's part of life. And part of my life is having to be up at night because you never know. It's a big forest and things happen. Let's do another activity. Let's play with clay. So what do we make with clay? Let's make a dragon. Let's make a dragon out of clay. Start with the horns. Let's get a little snout going on here. He looks kind of like a donkey now. Just flip-flop it. No, we're making a donkey now. No, let's try to go with the dragon first, and then we'll turn the dragon into a donkey. You can do that with clay. This is something you can do when the power's off and you're all alone. You can contemplate. You can think about the things that haunt you. You can think about the things that keep you up at night. Because chances are, there's something that does. There's something that does keep you up at night. There's something that does haunt you. And if that's the case, Well, is it anything like I've faced? Is it anything like I'm thinking about? Maybe it's something worse and harder. Maybe you've seen a friend die. Maybe maybe you've lost a family member. Maybe maybe you just wish you were something bigger yourself, you know? And I guess that's the thing about people that a lot of people just have trouble respecting is everyone's suffered different things. I like to look at my life and I'm thinking you might be thinking, "Oh, this guy is just thinking pathetic of himself." No, my life is good. My life is blessed. It's pretty nice. I'm honestly very thankful, but I'm not going to ignore the things that bother me, and I'm still going to put voice to them. And if you think that I shouldn't or that I'm not entitled to, well, you're the one with the problem. You're the one with the someone's got to do what you got to do thing. It's not me. I don't have any control over your life. Heck, I hardly have any control over mine. Why do you think I come up with silly little games? Things that fill the gaps of time and space. It's not because I have everything under control, it's because I'm trying to find reason to the things I'm confused with. And sometimes I get answers, sometimes I come up with answers, sometimes I just make them up. And I stick with it for a while until a better answer comes along. But whatever it is, I never say it's an absolute. It's all subject to change. I could change my mind. Like I remember as a little kid growing up in Idaho, I was kind of a racist. I was growing up in a household with a mom's boyfriend. Let's see, once dad left, there was a mom's boyfriend who moved in, and he wasn't exactly sensitive to people with different colored skin because he grew up in the Idaho cesspit too. Only he didn't have the same outlook as me. He was made bitter by it, and there's a lot to be made bitter about. It's a hard place to grow up. And and he took it out. He took it out on people, he took it out on us, he took it out on himself. And it made life for everyone and him very difficult. And it sucks because I don't love the person any less. Uh, in a way, he was my dad for about 7 years of my life. I'd walk with the guy everywhere he went. We'd talk about things. I learned a thing or two: how to throw a punch, how to take a hit, how to get made fun of and not let it bother me too much. Because if you think I wasn't the brunt of jokes, if you think I wasn't getting called a bundle of sticks in lieu of the actual word, just because I wasn't punching people for entertainment. You know? And if you don't, well, then you had a nicer life than I did, and that's okay. I don't think someone should have to have a more miserable life than me for them to understand what kind of pain I suffered. There's always someone who has it worse, and that doesn't make them a lesser person from having a harder life. In fact, if anything, it's it's almost like a balance. There's a certain asset to living a life of privilege in the sense that you're not bothered by the pain of existence that makes someone bitter or foreboding. But there's also a certain detractor because, well, you've never faced that kind of pain. So if you're confronted with it and you have nowhere to run, you're going to feel it full on. Now, if you grew up in a situation like that where you're in the suck, you're born and living in the suck, and that's just what you live with. Well, when it happens for real, it doesn't bother you so bad because, well, it's happened before. You can calmly and reasonably face it. And that's cool. But then there's another thing too. When you see someone who has a life of privilege, you think to yourself, "Geez, man, look at that! Look at that powder cake." So, I bet the wind could punch them over. And that's not a very nice way to look at things, but that's the way you feel when life's been like that. It's pretty crazy, actually. It's crazy how that works, how the mind comes to those conclusions. Now, I think the reason things are like that is because people are meant to work together. Uh, there's people who suffer life on the hard scheme of things, and there's people who get an easier ride, and it's up to the people with the easier ride to help the people who've had a harder life, and it's up to people with the harder life to inform and prepare the people who have had it easy. Because in the end, we all got to work together. We're going to be judged by the Lord in the end. And so you think the Lord's just going to have mercy on you because you had it hard. He made this whole universe. You think he doesn't know? you think you think he didn't know before you were even born what you were going to go through? And you might think, boy, that doesn't sound very fair. Well, who's there's for every person you're not helping, there's someone not helping you. It's a way to look at things. And sometimes you can't help people because they can't appreciate your help. And other times you have to help people that won't appreciate it because there will come a time where you can't do it anymore. And then they'll have to live with not having help. As long as everyone's really patient and appreciative with each other, you'll find things are fairly peaceful, very peaceable, very cohesive. That doesn't mean that the person who has it all good is the person who makes all the decisions either. Because sometimes the person of affluence isn't in a position to make the decision. Their decision would be the wrong one because the decision required is one of someone who has seen the pain. And in other terms, the person who has suffered the pain has to be patient and take direction from the person of affluence because, well, they have a different logic. There's people supposed to help each other. It's part of life. And so we all got to be patient with each other. We all got to take turns. We all got to share the stage. Even I might take a step back. That doesn't mean I hate you. That doesn't mean I've forgotten about you either. And it doesn't mean you're not my friend. I might be pissed too about it too. But I'm not going to take it personal. And the reason for that is because sometimes even I have to take a step back. Sometimes even I have to disappear for a while. Look at that. There's a little dragon. And there may come a time here, as I'm making these videos, people might catch on to it, and by the time they catch on to these videos here, I'll already be gone. And when they want to see more, there won't be more. That'll be it. These are the lessons you get. They're lessons you've heard before, no doubt. And they're lessons you'll likely hear again. Because it's just part of existence to learn and grow. Rawr, rawr, I'm a dragon. Rawr. Rawr, I'm a dragon. Rawr. Wait, let's give him a little dragon mouth. Rawr. Let's give him a little dragon eyes. Rawr. We'll give him a little dragon mouth. Rawr. Dragon. Yeah. It's just the way it is. And then the coolest thing about clay, you just roll it right back up. Make something new. And if you don't like that, chances are it'll happen to you too. Think about it. Every rock probably used to be a creature at one point in time. It's just been made into something and then crumpled back down into its basic elements. Think of oil. They always say oil is a bunch of dinosaurs and plants and stuff. Well, that's kind of like the whole dinosaur age getting rolled up back into a ball of clay to be turned into something else. And then what'll happen is, well, it'll be our turn one day, won't it? Well, at any rate, if he's looking for a record, here's a record. Goodbye. We're all friends.